What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be starting a new series. A Keyforge Card of the Day series. Now I say card of the day, it's not going to be every day, it's going to be when there's no news, etc. We do a card of the day, it's probably going to average out to 2 or 3 times a week, something in that realm. Well, I thought it would be a fun series to have a go at, and the usual rules apply. If you guys like this, if you think it's a good idea, make sure you click the like button, make sure you tell me, make sure you watch it, make sure you tell my friends. And if people want it to be a regular thing going forward, it will be. And if people don't, it probably won't be. What I want to do is just take a Keyforge card and do a little bit of a deep dive to see how good it really is. So let's start off with Keyhammer. Keyhammer's a weird card. It's a very unique card, and I thought, right, probably a good place to start. So Keyhammer was a card that was in Call of the Archons, the very first set. It gives you an amber bonus, it is an action, and it reads, if your opponent forged a key on their previous turn, unforge it, your opponent gains 6 amber. So straight off the bat, there is a really good thing going on here. You basically undo a forging of your opponent's key. Now, as a quick ruling query, which is very important to begin with, it said if your opponent forged a key on their previous turn. It does not say at the beginning of their turn. It does not say during the forge a key phase of their turn. It is just if they forged a key during their turn. So that means that if your opponent had played something like Key Charge or Key Abduction, this would work as well. You get rid of one of your opponent's keys. Now the thing here is that you get rid of one of their keys, but they still get the amber. So they essentially get to forge it again next turn. You don't stop them forging a key forever. You just take away the fact that they forged one of their keys. In that regard, it's kind of like Miasma. Miasma just makes them skip their forge a key step. Though they can, of course, still forge using something like Key Charge, they just cannot forge at the beginning of their turn during the usual forge a key stage. Cool. It's nice. Now, Miasma does have one huge advantage over Keyhammer, and that is, if your opponent is about to forge their third key, Keyhammer does nothing. The second they forge their third key, it's game over. They forge their third key, they win, you lose. You can drop a Miasma and your opponent is unable to forge their third key, the game goes on. If you drop a Keyhammer, well, let's hope they haven't already won the game. So after they forge their first key, this will bring them back. After they forge their second key, this will bring them back. However, unfortunately, it's not quite great. Not if they're forging their third key. Now, there is a really weird combo going on here with Heart of the Forest. Heart of the Forest basically says that your opponent cannot forge a key, nor can you, if they or you have more keys forged. So let's say your opponent forges their second key before you forged one. You can use Keyhammer to undo the second key and then drop Heart of the Forest. They're still up 1 key to 0, so they're now not allowed to forge their second key. I mean, it's a fun little combo. It's not going to happen all that often, especially because Keyhammer is in Call of the Archons only, so you'd need to have it as a legacy card in Age of Ascension. But it's still a fun little combo. If anyone's actually got that out there, and you got to think it's turned up in one deck at some point, that would be fun. What you're essentially doing with Keyhammer is buying a turn. You are delaying your opponent winning by a turn. Just like we saw with Miasma, except Miasma only stops them forging at the beginning of their turn, whereas Keyhammer will stop them forging, well, undo a forge that has already been done at any time during their turn. But one of the really unique things about Keyhammer is your opponent gains 6 amber. It does not say they gain the amber back that they spent, and it does not say if you unforged a key, your opponent gains 6 amber. When you play Keyhammer, your opponent will get 6 amber. Even if they didn't forge at 6, you'll give them 6. So let's say, for argument's sake, you are playing one of those super annoying Brobnar decks, and you've got a Grunt Buggy and you've got an Iron Obelisk. It's a combo we've seen do really well in Vault Tours. Grunt Buggy essentially increases the cost of each player forging by 1 for each creature their opponent has with power 5 or higher, except if you play Grunt Buggy, unless it's some kind of Maverick, you're probably playing a Brobnar deck, so you're likely to have big creatures. Your opponent, unless they're also Brobnar, might not. And then Iron Obelisk, your opponent's keys cost +1 amber for each friendly damaged Brobnar creature. So if you get both of these and then get a bunch of big Brobnar creatures out and damage them, you could realistically be looking at your opponent paying 12 amber to forge a key. What that means is, if your opponent forges a key at 12 amber, you can keyhammer it, and they only get 6 amber back. They don't get all of the amber back. They get exactly 6 amber. Now, of course, this could backfire. Because let's say, for argument's sake, your opponent is using that new Saurian key cheat, Triumph. Triumph is a phenomenal new card from Worlds Collide. Triumph is one of those cards that is... I still think at some point there's going to be a broken deck with Triumph in. Triumph allows you to forge a key for 0 amber. If there are no enemy creatures, you exalt each friendly creature, that is to say, put an amber on them from the common pool. If you do and there are 6 or more friendly creatures, you forge a key at no cost. As a side note here, there is one creature that really does help you to achieve this. It is Spartosaur. Spartosaur basically says after a friendly creature is destroyed, you destroy each non-dinosaur creature. So essentially, if you're against a house with no dinosaurs, Spartosaur should be able to clear your opponent's board. And then, as long as you've still got 6 creatures, i.e. 6 dinos, Triumph will work. If you can get a dinosaur deck with Spartosaur, Triumph, and 6 dinosaurs, this could be a really fun combo. Well, if your opponent does that, you can keyhammer away the key they forged, but they still get 6 amber. One which I think is less likely to be pulled off because it's been legal for ages, like over 6 months now, 7 months really now, nearer 6. It's been a while, and I've never seen it work, is Redacted. Every time you choose logos as your active house, you pop an amber from the common pool on Redacted. When there are 4 or more amber on Redacted, you sacrifice it and forge a key at no cost. Thing is, even if you've got this on your first logo's turn, you forge on your 5th logo's turn, assuming your opponent isn't playing any artifact hate. It's kind of a pain, alright? It's not particularly nice, but it might work occasionally. In those situations, you've still got to give your opponent the amber, so it could backfire. Or it could be even worse. Because you see, in Keyforge we have a rule whereby you do as much as you can. So let's say you play a Wild Wormhole, one of my favourite cards in Keyforge. Wild Wormhole, when you play the top card of your deck. Gives you an amber bonus, and you play the top card of your deck. It doesn't say you may play the top card of your deck. It says play the top card of your deck. No ifs, no buts, no maybes. You indiscriminately play the top card of your deck. Well, that's a little bit of a pain, ladies and gentlemen. Because what if you hit a keyhammer? If you hit keyhammer, and now if your opponent's just forged a key, it's great. But if you play a Wild Wormhole in a situation where your opponent hasn't just forged a key, you go, oh, you unforge a key. Oh, you can't unforge a key, you haven't just forged one. And then they gain 6 amber. If you end up hitting this off something like a Wild Wormhole, then this card, you still get an amber bonus. To be fair, you do get the amber bonus, but then the card reads, your opponent gains 6 amber. Oh. It can be an extremely risky card, and it's one that you've really, really got to look out for. It can be an extremely risky play, but it can also be a very, very, very good play as well. Now, we did have a similar kind of card just come out in Worlds Collide. It was Keyforgery, When your opponent would forge a key, that player names a house, you reveal a random card from your house. If they guessed wrong, you destroy key forgery and they do not forge that key. And just like we saw with Miasma, there are pros and cons here. Because on the one hand, this can stop them forging their third key, which Keyhammer won't. But on the other hand, they keep all of their amber, whereas one of the best things for Keyhammer is where your opponent has to pay well over the odds to forge a key, and then you Keyhammer them and you only give them back 6. How good is Keyhammer? I'd still probably rather have Miasma most of the time. And I'd still probably rather have key forgery most of the time, because they prevent your opponent forging. But as a card that can just slow your opponent down, I love it. But as I've demonstrated, it can give you some very risky plays. We should probably start giving Wossy scores to these cards, shouldn't we? I'm giving Keyhammer 4 Wossys. Because at the end of the day, it is still a card that can stop your opponent and slow them down. And it's called Keyforge, and you undo a forging. It's not as good as something like Miasma, but it's still a very good card. But I would like to know 2 things. Well, maybe 3. I'd like to know your thoughts on this card. I'd like to know if you think I should keep doing Keyforge cards of the day. And I'd like to know which cards you'd like me to look at as a card of the day. Go nuts in the comment section, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, would ya? And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Keyforge and other games. And do please consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.